Welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast with Phil Graham. We help you master Facebook ads and give you an unfair advantage over your competition. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast, episode 231. I'm Phil Graham. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing how you can and should be diversifying your advertising, not only on different platforms, but within the Facebook platform itself as well. Hardly anybody does this, yet this is a huge secret to success for many successful advertisers. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys on today's episode. I'm recording this on Monday, October 11th, 2021. I hope you guys are having a great day and a great week so far. And kind of sucks. The Seahawks not only lost on Thursday Night Football this last Thursday, but Russell Wilson got hurt. So he's got some adversity to overcome, but it's all good. Everybody's got adversity, and we can all overcome that. But I hope you guys are doing well. We had a great weekend here in Seattle. It was a bit rainy, but it was still enjoyable. Nice fall weekend, and I hope you did too. So if you guys want to get in touch, maybe you're looking for some one-on-one coaching so you can finally learn this ad stuff right, or maybe you actually want a pro to run your ads for you so you can do what you do best, or you don't have to worry about just flushing money down the toilet, not knowing if you're doing it correctly. Well, for either of those things, you can reach out to me. philgrahamdigital.com is my website, or you can DM me on Instagram at philgrahamdigital, and let's connect. If you're a potential client, we can do a call and see if it's a good fit. I truly do care, and not everybody's going to be the right client, so that's fine. I just want you guys to succeed. I truly care. So if you have questions, if you are a potential client, let's get in touch at Phil Graham Digital on Instagram. philgrahamdigital.com is the website. All right, with that being said, I want to jump right into the content this week, my friends. Keep this short, sweet, and actionable. And we're going to talk about how to diversify your ads, and even should you? And the answer is yes, you should. And I'll tell you why. As most of you know, about a week ago, the whistleblower came out in regards to Facebook. Not only that, but then the very next day, Facebook went down for a good part of the day. So that was kind of an interesting 1-2 punch. And a lot of people kind of freaked out, and, understandably so. However, there's one thing I want to start off with in this episode and make it very crystal clear. Facebook is not going anywhere. They are so ingrained in people's lives. I mean, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's WhatsApp, it's Oculus, and many, many other things. And they're just way too ingrained. So anybody who thinks Facebook's going away, or people are just going to have a mass exodus and not be using Facebook, that's insane. That's crazy. That is just not going to happen. So I want to state that first and foremost. And I absolutely believe that for most of you, a huge percentage of your ad budget should absolutely be on Facebook, no doubt about it. I will say, however, that it's smart to diversify your ads. Even if there wouldn't have been a whistleblower, even if there wouldn't have been a day where Facebook went down, I would have always said that. I've always said that you should diversify what you do. And so we're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to talk about platform diversification and then also ad diversification. This is the kind of stuff that you will hear very few people talk about, and certainly not go in depth on it and tell you how to do it or exactly what they do. But I'm going to do that today as much as I can on a short podcast. Obviously, if it was a scenario where you're a client, we can go much more in depth on your individual situation. But I'm going to give what I think will be the best thing for most people overall. So let's start off with platform diversification. So that means that there are many different platforms out there, and you should absolutely diversify your advertising. Some people only advertise on Facebook and Instagram. And while that can be successful still, it surely can be successful, absolutely. Not everybody uses Facebook or Instagram, number one, and you want to not only reach out to people on other platforms, but have a little protection. It's very similar to stocks. When you buy stocks, like I love investing in stocks, I can't, as much as I love Amazon, as that's literally my favorite stock on the planet, as much as I love Amazon, I can't just invest every penny we have on Amazon. It's not smart. So you got to diversify, not only with different companies, but also different sectors and different types of industries as well when you're investing. And it's very similar in ads. You can put most of your eggs in a basket, but you should have other baskets for sure where you have some eggs in those. So I'm going to talk to you about how we do that and where we put those eggs today. So it's going to certainly depend on who the client is, what their goals are, what their ad spend is. And there's so many variables. That's why this is difficult to just say, hey, do this, because it's very, very different depending on who you are and what your scenario is. So I'm just going to kind of give a rough, suggestion without knowing you personally and your individual exact situation. But here's how I would go about it. When it comes to platform diversification, I like to go either 80-20 or 90-10. So typically I'm going to put 80 to 90% of our budget on Facebook and Instagram. And then either 10 to 20% I'm going to play in other sandboxes and test other platforms. And again, it really depends on your exact situation. That may not be right for everybody, but for the masses who are listening to this, I think it's definitely what I would do without knowing you personally. So I would either go 80-20 or 90-10. So the 80 or 90 is the easy part in terms of the platform. We're still going to talk about ad diversification on Facebook in this episode as well. But let's talk real quick about the other platforms, the 10 or 20% of your budget, of your ad budget that would go into some of these other platforms. What are my favorite platforms? Well, we run ads for clients, not just on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, obviously this is a Facebook podcast, so that's what I focus on, but we actually run ads for clients on just about every paid platform there is. Snapchat, TikTok, Pinterest, Google, YouTube, and Twitter, and many others. So we cover all those types of things when we're working with clients. And some of my favorites are definitely Google and YouTube would be my next go-tos besides Facebook and Instagram. I really like both of those platforms because when you're advertising on Google, if you do it right, you're hitting people who are searching for something. They have an intent to buy many times or learn something. When you're on YouTube, it's very different because you can actually put your ad, your video on other people's channels, and let somebody else do all the hard work of trying to build up a fan base for 5 or 10 years and get millions of views. And then you can just pop an ad on there and get right in front of those people. So I really like YouTube and Google for sure. And then depending on the brand, Pinterest can work really well for certain types of brands, especially for like e-commerce. And also anything fitness or beauty related. That's another one I really like. And then obviously TikTok, if it's something targeted to the younger generation of people, can be good. And also Snapchat for a wide variety. So there's a lot of different platforms. Without knowing you, I can't say exactly what I would do, but in essence, I would do 80 to 90% on Facebook, probably 90% for a lot of you. And then the other 10%, I would probably put into Google and YouTube, except for some of you, it might go Pinterest, depending on what type of business you are. So that's how I would start, by diversifying my platforms. I would still focus mostly on Facebook, Instagram, but I would put some into some of those other platforms. I've actually toyed around with creating either another podcast that talks about all paid ads in general, or maybe a Google and YouTube paid ads podcast, because just like there's hardly any good information out there about Facebook ads, there's a lot of bad information. I'll tell you that. Same thing with Google and YouTube advertising. Most of the info out there is horrible and just not good. So I may create a podcast on that. I don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, I would diversify your platforms and make sure you're not just on Facebook and Instagram, and do a little bit in one of those other platforms. Pick one or two and put your 10 or 20% in that as well, and then test it. All right, that's platform diversification. The next thing I want to talk about briefly is ad diversification on Facebook and Instagram. When I say Facebook, I also mean Instagram. So ad diversification. A lot of people don't get this. They don't realize how important it is to diversify the kinds of ads you're running. It's so important, you guys. How many people out there do you think just run one style of ad? Let's say they just do conversions, or they just do traffic, and that's it. Guess what? Lots of people, probably a huge percentage, probably 90% or more. So what I want you guys to start thinking about is, with the 80 or 90% of your budget that you spend on Facebook and Instagram, Are you diversifying the types of ads you're running, or are you only running one type of ad? And what I would start doing is diversifying the ad. So number one, diversify your ad objectives. Don't just run conversions. Even if it's working great, test out some other ad objectives. I look at ad objectives like different players on a team. Sometimes you need the kicker to win you the game, no matter how good your quarterback is. And so your kicker in this example might be a video views objective that gets somebody's attention, that turns out to be an amazing client that never would have saw you if you didn't do that objective. So test video views, test traffic, test lead generation. There's all kinds of different great objectives, as well as messages. Make sure you're not just sticking with one and that's it. So that's one way I diversify ads. Another way is what I call the carrot and stick pain point diversification. So people are motivated different ways. Some people are more motivated by what they can get and what they can achieve. That would be like the carrot. And many more people, though, are motivated by fear and the fear of loss or losing something. And that would be called the stick. A lot of people, when they run ads, they just do one or the other. You should do both. And that's a great way to diversify your ads. Do one based off of what you can get and do another one based off of the fear of not getting whatever it is you sell. And that's the carrot and stick. Don't just do one. Another thing is to diversify your ad angles in terms of your creatives, like what you're saying in the ad. Remember, I always tell you, I've said this in different episodes, but think of ads like different roads to your destination. You might want to take the straight shot and go down the freeway. Your friend might want to take the country road, take a little bit longer to get there, but the views are nice. Both roads get to the same place at the end. There's not one that's right and one that's wrong. You need to be on both roads when you're advertising. And so to do that, you have different angles in your ads, different ways of saying things, different pain points that you're hitting. Don't just use one thing and that's it. Another way to diversify your ads is you can diversify what you're putting on mobile targeting versus desktop targeting. Sometimes getting attention on mobile and then trying to convert on desktop can work, or the other way around. But don't just do one or the other. Diversify mobile versus desktop. Another way we like to diversify our ads is, of course, this is kind of a no-brainer, but images and videos. I'm always telling you, videos are the number one most undervalued way to reach your audience and get their attention and have great things. And so videos, my go-to 90% of the time, but it doesn't mean I don't run image ads. Of course I do. You should be running both image ads and video ads, and also test carousel from time to time as well. And then long copy and short copy. There's not one that works better than the other. Sometimes long works better, sometimes short works better. Anybody who tells you that one always works better doesn't know what they're talking about. They're either lying or they're a scammer trying to sell you something. There's not one that works better than the other. So you should be having ads that have both, have some with long copy and have some with short copy. So if you guys diversify your platforms of where you're spending your ad money, and again, I would still put 80 to 90% in Facebook and Instagram, but if you diversify and spread out to a few other platforms, and then you also diversify your actual ads, like I talked about on Facebook and Instagram, that can do great, great things for you. And if you guys have questions about any of this stuff, or maybe you want help on not only advertising on Facebook, maybe you want help on advertising with Google or YouTube or Pinterest, we can help with that. That's what we do with our clients. So feel free to reach out at Phil Graham Digital on Instagram or philgrahamdigital.com on the website. So with that being said, my friends, episode 231 is in the books. Thank you so much for listening. I love and appreciate you guys and your attention. And I'm always going to be committed to giving you guys short, sweet, and actionable episodes to help you through the maze and craziness of being an entrepreneur and running ads. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you next time. Peace out.
Thanks for listening to the Next Level Facebook Ads Podcast. Please remember to subscribe and share this with all your friends. For show notes, more tips, and to learn more about Phil, please visit philgrahamdigital.com/podcast.